Today I'm going to be brewing a Coopers Irish Stout Kit. This is the first time I've brewed this kit, so I'm going to go with pretty much the instructions. I'm not going to add any fancy additives to it, which I know a few people add cocoa nibs and all sorts of stuff and dry hop it with coffee and all that kind of palaver, but I'm going to go with standard kit. To the kit I'm going to add a kilo of beer enhancer, which is, as you probably know, a combination of dextrose and spray dried malt. Not really quite sure what the ratios of that are in this, but I'm assuming it's kind of 50-50. The only sort of variation from the standard instructions I'm going to be making are I'm going to be replacing the standard yeast that's under the cap, which I'm pretty sure is just like a very generic ale yeast, with this stuff that I brought online from a company called Crossmyloof, and this is a Scottish and Irish ale yeast. So I think this is kind of a bit more of a traditional yeast that you're more likely to use in Guinness or Murphy's or that kind of thing. Well, that's why I'm hoping anyway. The other thing I'm going to be doing is, instead of brewing it to 23 litres, I'm just going to be brewing it short to about 20 litres. So what I'm hoping for is a bit more body. As you probably know if you've drunk Guinness, it's all about the body, isn't it? And you want that kind of rich, velvety sort of mouthfeel rather than it being thin and watery. So I'm going to brew it a bit shorter. Presumably that's going to bump up the alcohol. I'm not sure what this comes out to, but I'm assuming this comes out at about 4–4.5%. So, you know, brewing it short might lift it slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and sanitize my equipment, my bucket and my spoon and all of that kind of stuff, and I'll be back shortly. So I'm just going to get my yeast rehydrated, as this suggests. So I'm just going to pop this into a cup of lukewarm water which has been boiled, and let this rehydrate for half an hour or so. Okay, meanwhile, I've just put the can of Coopers extract in the sink with lots of really hot water just to loosen up the extract itself, and just makes it easier to pour from the can. I've got 2 litres of water which I'm bringing to the boil. That's what we're going to be dissolving the extract in the fermentation vessel. It's covered in foil because I accidentally broke the lid the other day. Anyway, that's going to take a few minutes while I go and get my bucket. So see you in a few secs. Okay, so I've just opened the can. This is nice and warmed and hopefully nice and runny. So I'm going to attempt to pour this in. Might not be able to do this one-handed, it's quite slippy, so I'll show you back in a second once it's in the bucket. So what I'm actually doing is I've poured the extract into the bucket first. The instructions call for 2 litres of hot water, so I've boiled 2 litres of water on the stove. I'm going to use that water to wash out this can, so you probably see there's quite a bit of residual extract left in the can, so I'm going to use that hot water to wash out the can rather than add it first and then add more hot water to it, because that's just going to bring the temperature up in the bucket, and means we'll probably have to wait a bit longer to pitch the yeast. So I'm just going to use that hot water to rinse the can out, and show you that in a sec. Here's the can, just got some hot water in there, lost a bit down the side there, a bit annoyed about that, but never mind, we'll get off as much as we can and get that back in the bucket. Nice clean can, bucket full of loveliness. Okay, so next I'm going to add the brew enhancer. Okay, so here's the brew enhancer. I've just opened this with scissors that have also been in the sterilisation fluid. So everything that comes in contact with anything I'm putting into this bucket has been sterilised. So the scissors that I open this with, the can opener, etc., and obviously the spoon I'm going to stir it with, it's all been sterilised. just okay, this is nicely mixed in now. I've added the rest of the hot water that I made in my saucepan, mixed it all in, it's all lovely jubbly. So now I'm going to be adding the rest of the water. So I've actually got bottled water, which I've just cheap bottled water from Lidl's actually, because the tap water here in Kent is very, very hard for a start, and it's got a certain twang. So I've found that I've had much better results by using bottled water. So I've had this standing outside. It's kind of end of October now, so it's cool water. So this is going to cool this right down, and hopefully bring it to perfect temperature for pitching the yeast. So I'm going to add that in now, and then I'm going to add my yeast along with some of this Harris Pure Brew, which again is just a water treatment thing, and hopefully it'll improve the overall brew. Okay, so just added in the Harris Pure Brew, which consists of one of these tablets crushed and a teaspoon of this nutrient stuff. So just added that in. Prior to that, I've just taken a sample for a hydrometer reading, so I'm just about to add the yeast now. There we go, it's in the bucket. Put the heat belt on, got a blow off tube coming off the top into a bottle, just in case it starts to go a bit wild in the early stages of fermentation, and don't want that spilling all over the kitchen floor. So that's it. So hopefully I'm going to leave this for a couple of weeks, and then it's going straight into the keg. So see you again then. Right, here we are. This is the Coopers Irish Stout. I was intending to keg it, but in fact I did. But when I went to drink it, it was absolutely flat. So I rescued it, put it in some bottles, carbonated it in the bottles again. So this has been in the bottle for about 3 months now. So hopefully it's going to be nicely matured. It's very cold outside, it's been standing outside, so I'm serving this quite cold. Nice little hiss, so hopefully it's got some carbonation there. Alright, there we go. It looks like a decent pint. I must admit I've had a couple of these already, so I know this actually tastes really nice. For a standard kit, really easy. I just added a kilo of Brew enhancer to it. I did upgrade the yeast to Crossmyloof Celtic ale type yeast, which I don't know, maybe made some difference, but it is a really nice pint, and yeah, smells great. Tastes really good. If you're thinking about doing the Coopers Irish Stout, do it. It's a fantastic pint.